Hello and welcome to day 81. Congratulations, all of the workouts are behind you. The hard work is done. Now it's time to coast into the finish line and allow these next 2 days of carb up to really bring the muscles to a full pop in these final progress pictures. If today is Thursday for you, progress pictures will be done sometime Saturday morning or afternoon, depending on when you feel your body looks better. So we're going to be spending this Thursday and Friday or the next 2 days, whatever they may be for you, with our carb load. So what exactly is that going to look like? As I touched on earlier this week and in yesterday's video, it depends some on what your nutrition point has been at. If you're on full bulking mode with higher carbohydrates and are gaining roughly a half a pound to a pound a week, such as at the start of the trainer, you will be keeping your nutrition exactly the same and just allowing the rest to allow the carbohydrates to go and replenish the muscle glycogen. If your carbohydrates have been a little bit lower and you're in a solidifying, more of a maintenance phase, such as I have been for the past couple of weeks, you're going to double your carbohydrates. So how exactly are you going to do that? Let me tell you how I'm going to do that first. So what I'm going to do is double the serving of carbohydrates with each carb meal. So for example, if I'm eating 200 grams of rice with a meal, I would bump that up to 400. If I'm eating 70 grams of oatmeal, dry weight, with a meal, I would bump that up to 140 grams. Basically, just going to double the carbohydrates by doubling the serving size of any carbohydrate-dense foods. I'm also going to, today, for a little bit of an extra pop and pump, I'm going to be adding in some cereal. So with the meals that I'm having the protein shake, I'm actually going to be picking out a rice-based or easily digestible cereal, and I'm going to be having several servings of that to really ramp up the carbohydrates. Make sure whatever carb sources you're using, work fairly well for your body. We do want to push the carbs to really get those muscles filled and saturated with glycogen. However, we don't want to be eating a bunch of junk or too many carbohydrates that are just going to bloat you or make you hold a lot of water for the progress pictures. Keep in mind, we are on a muscle building program, so our carbohydrates have not been very low before this. So we don't need to overload too much. The glycogen levels are already fairly full. We're just taking them and pushing them up over the top. We don't want to be holding a lot of water or bloat ourselves as if we're doing a full-on carb load into a competition. Keep in mind also how many carbohydrates you're consuming will depend on your size a lot. If you're a bigger individual like me, weighing around 240 pounds of muscle, I'm going to need more carbohydrates than somebody coming in at, say, 175 or 180 pounds of muscle. A good way to track and make sure this is working is to use this first day as a test. Double the carbohydrates if you've been on lower carbohydrates, or keep them steady if you have been on higher carbohydrates going into today. Then tomorrow morning, evaluate and see how you look. If you're feeling a little bit bloated or like you're holding water, you're going to pull back on the carbohydrates tomorrow. If you feel like you're still a little flat and stringy and your muscles don't have that pop and hardness factor pushing against the skin when you feel them, then you're going to go ahead and keep the carbohydrates high or potentially even increase them. If your muscles are responding well and you're happy with how you look tomorrow morning, you're going to do exactly the same thing you did today going into Saturday morning. Again, we are not getting ready for a show for this, so there's not a whole lot of pressure to peak to absolute perfection for the stage or anything like that, so use this time to see how your body responds to a mini carb load, especially if your carbs have been a little bit lower, such as mine, for the past few weeks. And most of all, enjoy this rest and recovery. Enjoy the extra carbohydrates if your appetite is high, and enjoy the success because you have made it this far. You have come through all these difficult workouts. You've been progressively overloading, putting your body to war week after week, and you have made it victorious and come out on top. So enjoy the rest, enjoy the food, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.